Right, hello viewers and welcome back to the channel. Now, somehow we are halfway through the year. I've no idea how that happened so quickly, but there we go. And it seems a good time to me to look ahead to what new bikes we might see launched and updated over the next few months, especially with the Tour de France around the corner. And do let me know in the comment section below what bike you want to see updated and launched as well. So let's dive in. I will start with a bike I fully expected to see at Unbound last weekend, but didn't. A Tarmac Gravel, a combination of the aerodynamics of the Tarmac SL8 and the wide tyre gravel capability of the Crux. A bike that the company doesn't have in their lineup, but when you see the new bikes being launched and teased at Unbound, it's all Aero with big tyres. And that's a bike that Specialized does not have in their range. They have all the elements from different bikes available, the Crux, the Diverge and the Tarmac. They just need to bring those pieces of the jigsaw together into one platform. So that's a bike missing from their range and one I think they need given the focus on racing and how big gravel racing is around the world and especially the US, their home market. So a bike, yeah, and it's odd to see their top athletes on either the Crux, fantastic bike, but not a gravel race bike, really. And at Unbound, the pros were using the Diverge platform. So yeah, quite interesting. That's a bike I think Specialized need to launch, and I think it would be very popular. Right, from bikes to group sets, because are Shimano set to launch a wireless Di2 Dura-Ace and possibly Ultegra group set this year? They showed their brand new XTR Di2 wireless group set, their first ever wireless group set last week. My new video to that is linked above in case you missed it. And the current generation of 12-speed Dura-Ace and Ultegra, which are semi-wireless, was launched back in 2020, so just during the pandemic. So 5 years old, and still a fantastic choice. It still works extremely well. And given we've seen the wireless technology they now have available and have rolled out to the mountain bike world, it doesn't take a massive leap of imagination to see that technology being rolled out to Dura-Ace and hopefully Ultegra as well. They've done the hard work. I'm sure that hard work is being put into a road bike group set very soon. But I have questions around what else it could change. It's currently 12 speed and to be honest, it works really well. I'm rarely riding Ultegra on my Cannondale and thinking, I wish I had an extra sprocket. But 13 speed, if they follow Campag with Super Record 13, would give you the benefit of a bigger range cassette and smoother cadence steps. The other change or improvement I like to see on Shimano are the hoods and the brakes. Now the hoods ergonomics are fantastic, but I do think Campag and SRAM hoods are better when it comes to ergonomics, personally speaking. And the brakes on SRAM are way better than Shimano, both in the lightness of the lever action, which is just incredible. If you tried SRAM Red, you know what I mean. And also the power available. So more powerful disc brakes and also more clearance between the pads and the disc brake rotor would be good for when riding in gritty, crappy conditions as well. But let me know what you'd like to see updated and improved on Ultegra, Dura-Ace and 105 Di2 by dropping a comment down below. Now, back to bikes. Cannondale, back in 2018, launched their SystemSix Aero road bike, but somewhere along the line over the last few years, it was quietly dropped. No announcement, just dropped from the range. Go to their website now, and it's not on their website at all. Their current race bike choice is the Super 6, a lightweight aero bike. It's not super light, it's not super aero. And given the way the UCI rules have been changed over the last few years, allowing the likes of the Carnago Y1 RS to exist, and the Cervelo S5 and the Ridley Noah, could we see, and given Cannondale's expertise in-house for aerodynamics, could we see a new version of the SystemSix launch sometime this year, possibly at Tour de France, allowing the Super 6 to be the all-rounder and then go fully aero with a brand new SystemSix, really maximising the new UCI rules around tube shapes and dimensions and really just put everything they know about aero into a full-on aero bike that isn't concerned with weight and comfort and have a concession to aerodynamics. There is still a lot of love for aero bikes. The Specialized range is still a bike that many people miss, I know SystemSix has a similar sort of following as well, and lots of people still ride and own that bike. So that's a bike I can see possibly being updated. It does make sense in the lineup of bikes. Some of the speculation for bikes that are due an update are when they would last launch. And one bike that was launched a long time ago was a Wilier Filante SLR, 2019 that came out. It's a bike that's aged really well because it still looks bloody amazing. One of the prettiest road bikes you can buy right now. But given they launched their Verticale SLR last year, replacing their Zero SLR as their pure lightweight bike, and that bike had no aero other than a one-piece cockpit. So a more Aero Filante SLR to really move the game on for the pro team they now sponsor. Retain the low weight. It was still a lightweight bike, low 7 kilos was possible with good parts, but crucially for me, retain the amazing looks of the Filante, because there are some aero bikes on the market that are definitely ugly and hit every branch on the ugly tree, and some, like the Filante SLR, which are beautiful to behold. So that's a bike I would expect to see at the Tour de France. Another aero bike probably due an update is the Orbea Orca Aero, again launched way back in 2021. Yeah, no, it's only 4 years ago, but it seems like a lifetime in the bike industry sometimes. That was a pretty radical looking aero bike then, and still is, not helped by the cargo storage boxes on the frame, which were optional, but did give the bike a questionable stance, shall we say. The bike rode pretty well, not the smoothest in the world, and also not the lightest either. So I could see them refining the aerodynamics and then take some weight off, get rid of the cargo storage boxes because they look a bit pants, and make a bike that really is a nice, clean, fast, lightweight looking aero bike to complement their sort of regular Orca for all-round duties. Then from aero to more lightweight focused bikes, another bike well overdue an update, one of my favourites, is the BMC TeamMachine SLR. Last updated in 2021, and in that time since, they put a lot of money and investment into the TeamMachine R, developed with Red Bull, the F1 racing team, and one of the most aero bikes in the world right now. Really narrow handlebars, mad aero looking bike, and it does ride really well. Still the fastest bike around the Just Ride bike test track. And given that pure focus on aerodynamics and not being that lightweight or having the most generous tire clearance in the world, the Team is free to be as light as the engineers at BMC can make it, maybe a diluted TeamMachine R, so some nice balance of aero and lightweight, but hopefully retain the distinctive looks of the TeamMachine that still stand out in a market of bikes that all increasingly look the same. And the TeamMachine has always been a personal favourite. The looks, the ride quality, the general performance, so a bike I've always liked, and a bike I would like to see updated this year. Right, 2 more bikes to talk about. Next up, the Canyon Ultimate, a bike last updated in 2022, and it was a mild refresh over the previous one, and it hasn't really changed all that much visually or in terms of weight on the scales in a long time. And the issue for Canyon is all their pro riders like Mathieu van der Poel are on the Aero, the company's Aero bike, and that's down to 7 kilos in a top level trim. So lightweight, and it's aero, and it looks fantastic, and it rides really well, and comfort is pretty good. So it does leave the question of what they can do with the Ultimate, and the only obvious answer is to go more lightweight. Go down the route of the Aethos perhaps, or the Scott Addict RC, and make it as light as they can. I'm sure they have the technology and the know-how and the desire to make it as light as possible and really have that separation point. But the issue is, because the pros are using the Aero because they want more aero than low weight, developing a super lightweight Ultimate wouldn't be used by the pros. So could they create some combination of aero, make the Ultimate a bit more aero, but make it lighter? But does that eat into the air road? So the other more dramatic outcome for the Ultimate is to quietly drop the bike from the range and put everything into the air road. But I know away from racing, the Ultimate is still a very popular bike, like the giant TCR. Just a classic road bike, And for those people not concerned or worried about aero, and that's a lot of people not racing or following marginal gains, it's still a bike that ticks a lot of boxes. And then the final bike in my wild speculation video is the Specialized Aethos. Still, all these years after it launched, one of the lightest road bikes you can buy right now, and a bike that hasn't changed at all, which I love. I love the way it looks. The simple round tubes, the external routing, the regular handlebar and stem, the external bottom bracket and seat clamp. But given the popularity and the trend and desire and demand perhaps for internal routing, it could make sense for Specialized to do a rolling update to the Aethos and bring the internal routing system from the Tarmac over to the Aethos, but with a lightweight non-aero handlebar and stem. Factor do a really nice one-piece handlebar and stem for their lightweight climbing bike, a nice round diameter top section. So that could work really well, give it the modern looks that many people want, and give people who own a current Aethos a reason to upgrade to a new Aethos and retain a low weight. Some other rolling updates to make the bike a bit more relevant in today's world could be a UDH dropout, so you can fit a SRAM Explore 1x group set if you wanted to. Tyre clearance could be improved from 32 to 34, 35 to make it more of an all-road contender perhaps, and not step on the toes of the crux. And something I would love to see when it first launched actually is to give us 2 stack options. The race geometry is fantastic and it does mirror the Tarmac in the stack and reach, but most people buying that bike aren't actually racing, so having a higher stack would be beneficial. And some bike brands like Fairlight Cycles have 2 stack options, a regular for race and a tool for more relaxed, and that will make sense on the Aethos. And Specialized, I'm sure, have the money to offer 2 stack options on the Aethos. So yeah, internal routing, UDH, bigger tyre clearance, and 2 stack options is how I would repurpose, remodel, revamp the Aethos if you asked me to do that tomorrow. So those are my speculations on new bikes that may see updates in the next few months. I may be wrong, but it's a bit of fun speculating on what we want to see. So let me know what you want to see from these bikes and other bikes I've not mentioned by dropping a comment down below. And if you want to see my review of the Specialized Aethos, if we're talking about that bike, watch that video right up there.